Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Stacey and Marquis show. I'm Dr. Stacey, and
I'm Marquis.
yeah, and that's Marquis. Interestingly enough, Marquis is my son. See the resemblance?
Yeah.
No, you don't see it?
A little bit.
Okay. You just got to learn how to grow facial hair like I do, right?
That's easy,
No, really, Marquis is my son. A little story, a little backstory for everybody to know is that Marquis, when he was very young, was in the foster care system, and we adopted him. He lived with us for quite a while. And we adopted him, and you know what? I mean, we went through trials and tribulations like any family does. There were times where he and I didn't get along. There were times that he got in trouble in life, and
a lot of those.
Yeah,
a lot of those.
a lot of those, yeah. But you know what? We're still together. We're still family, and that's what it's all about. He and I frequently disagree on just about everything, but we know that we love each other and that we've gone through a lot together. I would say probably. I'm glad to see you still alive. Just say that much. Yeah, because it came close a couple times, right?
Yeah. 8 of them.
Oh my goodness. But that brings us to the point about trust. It brings us to the point about people don't have to be blood to be family. And that's the truth of it all.
Just being honest with yourself and admitting your differences. Really.
Yeah, that's the way it is. I mean, if people can survive the things that he and I've, survived in our lives, me probably a little longer because I'm 58 years old and he's only 19.
No. 25.
He's 25. You're going to vape in the middle of a video?
You can't do that?
Oh, wow,
People
man.
do that now.
I know that. I'm old. Yeah. I'm old school, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go ahead and turn the microphone over to Marquis and let him tell you a little about his life. Go ahead.
I don't know where to start.
Well, start from the beginning that you can remember.
I remember... Let me think. I mean, I guess I remember back whenever I was with my original family and just...
Your blood family?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just the hard times we used to go through, and then I remember coming with them, and just from there it looked up, even though I didn't see it as that, and really gave them hell most of the time, me and my brother. And from that, it's just been a learning lesson, really. Just going my own route, thinking I knew everything, and learning that I didn't know nothing. And then I got into drugs and decided, it took me a while to learn that,
Well, you hit the bottom, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I got 3 kids that I love dearly, and I just want to give them the world, so yeah.
Kind of like any dad, really. Yeah. I mean, you want to give them the world.
Yeah.
And there's very few times that we said no to you kids, right?
Yeah.
But, in all actuality, Marquis is, a sterling example of how people that do hit the bottom can climb their way back out. He's in the middle of going to school for cybersecurity. Okay. Yeah. Cybersecurity. A thing that he's very passionate about is gaming and things that you do online. And when he found out that I was the coordinator of the cybersecurity program at a local university, he decided, hey, I'm interested in that. Yeah. I want to do that, And so he's got himself enrolled at the local university, which we won't name because, we don't really have permission to use them in our podcast. And I really don't feel like going through the product placement, legal paperwork and so forth. So we'll just say a state university. All right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the things that we endured, when we were growing together.
Yeah.
Let's tell some of those funny stories.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. there are stuff that he thought we were really mad at him, and behind closed doors we were laughing, the wife and I. So it's it's one of those things. So yeah, like for instance, the we had chickens where we lived at, and so I snuck out of the house. I had a ghillie suit, by the way. A tree tux is what we call it in the Marine Corps. I had a ghillie suit, and I went out by the chicken coop and camouflaged myself. Now, keep in mind, Marquis was, what, maybe 8?
I think I was a little older than that. I was probably like 9 or 10.
9 or 10, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you got to understand that Marquis had this habit of torturing his siblings. And I thought, it's time for him to get a little bit of his own medicine. So I snuck out of the house, went and got my tree tux on, and sat right next to the chicken coop.
And I was carrying water.
And he was carrying...
Don't he's gonna try to change that part. I was carrying water.
It was a bucket of water, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was a bucket of water.
They tried to say I peed myself, but I didn't. I didn't.
He peed himself.
No.
Yes, he did.
I dropped the water.
Yes, he did.
I might have a little bit, but that's not the point.
He might have spritzed a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, here comes Marquis. He's walking from the house. I'm watching him through the the little holes in the tree tucks, and he's getting real closer and closer. And I'm thinking, no.
I remember seeing it too and thinking there wasn't a bush there, and I walked up to it, not even thinking about it. But
Yeah. So so he got about 2 feet from me. About 2 feet from me, and I jumped up and screamed.
the bush turned into a 6'4" man. Though. So I mean, anybody would be scared. I was terrified.
So he throws the bucket of water up and takes off running. So I couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
Oh, so when I got back into the house and everything, he was mad. He was. I think he was ready to just absolutely burn the house down around me. Yeah. and he was, what were you mad for? Well, what made you so mad?
It just scared me. It was terrifying. I remember thinking, I still to this day remember walking up and thinking, because I went out there every day to feed and water the chickens, and I remember looking at the bush and thinking, there wasn't a bush there, but I didn't know. And then that bush turned into a 6'4" man, so yeah, I was scared.
Oh.
Definitely scared.
Oh, so life lesson number 1: don't pick on your siblings. It
Or
might come
if
back
there
to
wasn't a bush there, it's not a bush. It's not a bush.
That's
Bushes don't grow overnight.
So yeah, he's yeah. And we have quite a few of those little stories. I mean, we've got how about the snowstorm of 2009 when I was throwing you guys into the snowdrift?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they were out there torturing each other. I thought, you know what, time for Dad to go out and play with the kids. So I went out there. I got my Carhartt on and got my cowboy hat on. My old black Stetson. So,
Is that the year we were ice skating on the pond?
yeah, that's the same year. Yeah. The pond had frozen completely over, and they were out there just, sliding all over the place on that pond. That's the great thing about living out in the country, though. You really get that opportunity to experience things that you just don't live growing up in the city. Yeah. Working with horses, stuff like that. But anyway, back on the story. We had, in 2009, we had a Christmas Eve storm, a snowstorm. There was maybe a little ice at the very beginning, but it turned into snow. And it was deep. The drifts, it was so deep that my Jeep had a hard time getting around.
Yeah.
It was that bad.
It was halfway up the side of the house.
Yeah, it was halfway up the side of the house. So these kids are out there, and they're trying to find something to do in the snow. I mean, really? I mean, when I was a kid, there were plenty of things to do.
We were doing stuff. We just,
What were you doing?
Playing with Mishka, mainly.
Oh,
Mishka loved
we had a
snow.
white German Shepherd.
Yeah.
She was a big white German Shepherd, but she loved Marquis. I mean, she would follow him everywhere. Yeah, but we were out there in the snow playing around, and he was out there playing with her. But the other kids just didn't have an imagination. I mean, they were just kind of sitting there. So I was like, okay, I'll go out and show them what can be done in the snow. So I grabbed his brother first, picked him up, and threw him in a snowdrift. He just disappeared. You seen me? I think there was little feet sticking up, kind of like a little cartoon, you know. Yeah. And then I grabbed Marquis before he could run away, because then he was already prepping. It was like, the Roadrunner. Those feet were going. He was about ready to take off on me. And so, I grabbed hold of him and I threw him in the snowbank. Of course, he come up and he had snow all over his face and stuff. It was pretty fun. Well, to me, it was funny.
Yeah. It was cold, but it was, we turned out to do it more. We had them throwing us more after that.
Yeah, after that, they were begging for me to throw them some more. We ran out of snowbanks or snowdrifts to throw.
I think he ran out of energy. But
with that, too.
Yeah, throwing
probably.
Kids.
It was a fun year, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, one of my favorite years.
That was one of the years where the living room was just covered with presents.
The entire room.
Yeah. Was that the year I played Santa Claus?
I'm not sure. I think that's the year you made the video for Kaylee.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, so keep in mind that I started learning technology really fast. I mean, real fast. And so I learned how to take a camcorder video and dub it to where it looks like somebody just appears out of a flash of light. So, at this point in time, one of the other brothers was trying to ruin the spirit of Christmas
It wasn't
by saying,
me.
Yeah, it wasn't you, and I know you wasn't one. But anyway, he was telling our daughter, the youngest of all of them, there is no such thing as Santa Claus. And I'm like, well, I'm going to fix that problem really quick. So I had a Santa Claus suit, that was hidden away in the closet. And so what I did was I had the camcorder going and recording, and it was kind of facing a wall away from the Christmas tree. But anyway, and I just stood up from behind the couch, went looked at the camera and went, oh, and then kind of walked off away from the camera,
No. It teleported you.
I know.
Oh, okay.
That's part of the dubbing process.
okay.
I hadn't got there yet. Yeah. So, my gosh, he interrupts everything I do. I mean, really.
Yeah.
I can't do a thing without him going, wait. So anyway,
He'd take over the whole thing, man.
So anyway, so I dubbed this video just for her reasons alone, and make a little white flash, and then all of a sudden, Santa Claus appears, and so Kaylee was, the daughter, Kaylee, was doubting the existence of Santa Claus until she saw that video, and we carried on the belief there for quite a while after that.
Mm-hmm.
She would argue with people. We went to Branson one year. And we went into this place called Kringle's, and in there was a Santa Claus. So what I did was I told the wife and them that I was going to go to the restroom. So I went out the side door and came around to where Santa Claus is at, and I said, okay, you're going to see me come up with a little girl and my wife, and I want you. Her name was Kaylee. Remember the name Kaylee. Ask her how she's doing, and you hadn't seen her for a while. And he said, okay, I'll do that. Didn't have to pay him for it either. So So we come walking up, and the first thing out of his mouth, Kaylee, how are you? And her eyeballs got like that big around.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what?
Didn't Mom end up having to tell her that Santa wasn't real? And she still guessed it? Like, second guessed whether he was or not?
Yeah, that came down the pike quite a bit later.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it was years later.
yeah, we had, I mean, it's really hard to make the decision when to tell them because so many people at school and are telling her different, and you just don't want to ruin the special time, the special thing that exists about Christmas. The magic of Christmas, yeah. And we really enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
We did it. I mean, even though most of the kids didn't believe in, Santa Claus, we still did enjoyable things. It wasn't about the presents. It wasn't about what you were getting. Well, for him maybe, but
for all of us, we got a bunch of shit. That's why I knew Santa wasn't real, though. It was from being adopted, and before I was adopted, we didn't get nothing. And then being adopted, I knew that they were Santa pretty much. But I didn't go and split it, tell everybody about it. I talked to my mom about it, and she was like, told me, like, don't ruin it for them. So I didn't say nothing for years. But
and you
I
never
knew.
did.
Yeah.
You've always been very supportive of your sister. Yeah.
Because I understood, I understood. But I also knew that, if Santa was real, I would have got presents then too. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's the kind of life that, we kind of grew up together. We don't, as father and son, we don't see eye to eye frequently. But
we didn't get along for years.
No, we didn't. No, we
At
didn't
all.
get along for years. And, well, I mean, you got to understand, I was a chief of police.
And I was the worst criminal. yeah. I was pretty bad. Yeah.
So the chief of police and the criminal had a hard time getting along. But you know what? We found a common ground. It really was important for us to not lose each other.
Yeah, family is both of our number one things. So.
Yeah. Exactly.
And at the end of the day, we're family. So.
No, yeah. Even if we disagree. And that's what this show's going to be about. We're going to talk about current events. We're going to talk about, some of his life experiences versus mine, and some of them are going to be tragic. Some of them not so much. Some of them may be uplifting. We talk about things like spirituality, religion.
The pyramids, Colosseum,
the pyramids,
space, all that.
All that, yeah.
I love that stuff. Yeah.
Conspiracy theories will be coming out of him. My job is to try to disprove them by using the analytical mind. Yeah. But that's what we're going to be talking about on the show. His beliefs versus mine. He believes in the legalization of marijuana, where I say no, I don't agree with it. It's a gateway drug.
Yeah.
But that's not going to be this episode yet.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna save that one for maybe episode 2.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about conspiracy theories as well. And probably, I would say that, the most important aspect of our show will be life lessons. And that's exactly it. Lessons in life. And
from two different views, though.
From two different views. Views that are very stark contrast. I mean, he and I have totally different views on a lot of things. But it's not just about that. It's about how I was raised versus his raising. I was raised in a very strict home. I had a Army veteran father who really frequently treated us like recruits at boot camp or basic training, and well, I guess.
Mind you, anyone?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah. But that was, we came from different backgrounds. I had the trauma with me and, all the other stuff from before. So it was like that stuff got handled differently.
Yeah, and you got to understand the trauma. I mean, he and his brother were 1 and 2 years old when they were taken out of their home. And they say that babies don't remember anything prior to 3 years old, and I really don't think that's the case. I think if it's traumatic enough, it sticks with you, regardless of how
Mentally,
young.
at least.
Yeah.
I don't visually remember any of that stuff, but I do remember going back with my grandma and around what, like, I don't know for
3 and 4.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
you stay with her for a little bit. I remember that, and that was, yeah, traumatizing, but
Yeah.
it was just, yeah,
Well, you guys had already started getting used to us,
yeah,
and that stability.
yeah,
And we had a much stabler house than other people did.
yeah,
Yeah. And we always tried very hard to provide them with that stable home. And to kind of give you a little idea, his mom was an addict, specifically meth. And,
anything.
it was, yeah. I mean, and that's what got them taken out of the house was her drug use. And we were supposed to be an emergency foster family. That meant it was just temporary that they would come to us. And what happened was we fell in love with them. As hard as it was, we we fell in
It
love
wasn't
with
that
them.
hard then for y'all to love me. I was a great little kid, but yeah,
No, that's true. I mean, they were
yeah.
they were very. I wish I had pictures of them right now. I got a picture of them. Him and his brother both. Now, keep in mind, I had cowboy boots. No big deal, right? And I had a cowboy hat. Well, these two, I got pictures of them standing in my cowboy boots with my cowboy hat on. Now, keep in mind, their legs were not long enough to fit or to hit the bottom of the boot without the sides of the boot getting them. Well, they were in diapers, so it's protected. But in the general area of and
They were
the
tall,
hip,
yeah.
they were tall. And then they got these big old cowboy hats.
I look cute in it though. I think.
Yeah, it was cute,
Yeah,
very cute.
yeah,
In fact,
yeah.
we still have the pictures, and
Yeah.
you know what? Next episode, we'll show it to you. So, but that's the kind of things that we did as a family, and even during the times that we were, butting heads, we never stopped talking.
Yeah.
We always talked. My talking usually was quite a few decibels above him, but we talked.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of fun lessons learned. Usually
Yeah.
usually meant they were holding a boot
Yeah. Or a rifle. Yeah.
or a plastic rifle, not a real one. Okay.
It felt pretty damn
It
real. Yeah.
Okay, a little bit of boot camp in here. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of boot camp. I still got a 6-pack since I was 10 years old. Like,
But
yeah.
the coaches loved
oh yeah,
you guys.
they loved us. Yeah.
Their
We were
stamina
beasts.
was wow. I mean, it was crazy how strong and how fast these boys were.
Yeah.
They eventually, I'm sorry, learned that they could outrun me, and so if they got in trouble, they took off running. Even with the cops there, they just take off running.
Hey, Norman Ph.D. hates me for that too.
Yeah.
Because I can still outrun. Yeah. But that's the old me. I'm not.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? We can laugh about it.
Yeah.
We can laugh about it, or at least I laugh about it.
Yeah.
Now-
I laugh about it. I dust them almost every time. But
Oh, and by no means am I telling anyone out there and
yeah, don't do it, y'all. Don't do it.
don't do it.
Just
Now,
stop breaking the law. So
I'm
much
still
easier.
in law enforcement. I'm still a commissioned officer, and so
I'm retired.
you're a retired criminal.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a retired criminal, so
Yeah.
that's why we get along so well. But that's some of the things you did, though. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it was
crazy
hilarious.
stuff. I mean,
What-
I was 17 facing a murder charge.
Yeah,
That's what they. Yeah.
yeah. Well, we got to kind of. I mean, we're going to be honest about things that happen in our lives. Marquise had run away from home. He had gotten around some pretty seedy individuals. And of course, one of the things that, Marquise always had a thing of doing was, running with the crowd. If the crowd jumped off a cliff, it's very
I
possible
was leading it. That's what it was. I was the first one to jump.
I didn't expect that answer.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably what it was. And that's why this whole ordeal even happened, what he's about to say, is because people despised me for the way I thought I was the shit. I wasn't the shit. And yeah, I had to learn.
I don't cuss. He does.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's okay.
You can do that, yeah.
You can do it. It's a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah. He does. He just don't admit it. No, he does sometimes. Very small, but he does.
Man.
You can bleep that out.
No. I'm going to leave it in there. But anyway, in all seriousness, I think this was probably his big wake-up call. It was a very tragic incident where, as I understand it, he was car hopping and found a gun.
Oh, yeah.
Car hopping is, you want to explain it to him.
No, you're just breaking into
cars.
people's cars and taking.
Some people leave their cars unlocked.
Yeah.
And the guy that had the gun, his vehicle's unlocked, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you going to leave your vehicle unlocked with a gun in it?
Yeah. It was a military person, too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So anyway, and I still pray for the individual that are the victim in this case, frequently. But anyway, they went to a party in Norman somewhere, and there was a bunch of people out in the yard, and this football jock who everybody loved, he managed to, I think he had brass knuckles or something like that.
Yeah.
He had,
they were trying to rob me as well.
They were trying to rob him for money and drugs and stuff like that. Well, he had given his friend the gun, and this football jock with the brass knuckles hit him in the jaw and just completely
shattered my jaw,
obliterated him. Part of his jaw is
titanium.
Titanium, yeah. But his friend took out the gun and shot the individual, killing him. I think he was dead at the scene, but...
and I thought that guy was my friend. That's the only reason the other guy had the gun, is because I went outside right before he got shot, or right before he hit me. I shook his hand and gave him a hug and said, "All right, I love you, bro. Be safe." And then turned around and he hit me from behind. And I fell off the porch, hold my jaw, and then my buddy shot him twice. And
And we've talked about it a lot. During the time that this happened, I got called to the hospital, Norman Ph.D., some of them which I knew because I was the chief of police in a nearby town. They were there and they were like, "Chief, we got to have some paperwork signed by you and so forth." And so I look into this emergency room, and of course he's got blood just pouring out from this big giant gaping hole right here. Yeah. I mean, his lip was split and was hanging down, and blood was just pouring out.
I couldn't talk.
And I didn't really say anything, but I just gave him that look.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, really? I gave him that look, and his response to that was, "Fuck you."
Yeah. While I was spitting blood up.
Yeah. While he's spitting blood up.
Yeah.
So I turned around and I signed the paperwork and I left. I didn't see him again for
3-4 years.
3 or 4 years after that.
Yeah.
We didn't talk.
But then I went to jail for, like a year and a half fighting that.
Yeah. And that was, again, I pray for the young lad that was victimized by this, and he has too. The way he and I talk to each other now, it's very easy to get rid of those demons, the ones that haunt you on a daily basis. And I can't say enough how much I feel like he's been haunted by this. And for those of you kids out there that, you're having a hard time in life, I mean, let my son here be an example. to follow, to get away from those tribulations in life, right? Yeah. Um, he's often voiced how he regrets what had happened and wish he'd go back in time and fix it and not do it. But we can't do that. But what we can do is be an example for others to follow. Yeah, you can hit the bottom, but you can climb back out. As long as you accept what's right. You know.
Yeah, if you don't like the way your life's going, then stop doing what you're doing and find what you do like, pretty much.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I've learned in it all. Yeah. I felt miserable for years and I thought that was just my life, so I just kept going down and down and down, and it wasn't that I didn't like my life. I didn't like what I was letting my life become, and I had to change it. And drugs and certain people you're around, those aren't the way to do it. Like, if you're out there in the streets with people, they don't care about you. They care about what they benefit from you. And you'll learn that quick, though. Yeah.
Let's go into that a little bit more. Talk about some of the people that you were around out there, and I mean, because we've talked about it, but I think it's really important for those out there in radio land to hear the story, his tribulations on the streets of Oklahoma City and Norman. Tell us about some of the people. Tell us about some of the hardships you faced out on the streets.
Well, I mean, whenever I first got in the streets, it was pretty easy. That's why I kept running away, is because, I had all these friends and I had all these people that I could, do stuff for. I had drugs and stuff, so they wanted me around. But then over time, me becoming more and more of a drug addict, I was using up all my drugs. So I didn't have nothing to give. So I started losing places to stay. People that I thought were my brothers and stuff, I'd get out of jail or something, and I was living with them before, get out to find out that I'm not even welcome there anymore. It's like, kick to the face. So I don't know. I ended up staying in a tent at one point and literally having to go steal from stores just to eat. And it's just people that you think are your friends. Like, if you're out there doing criminal stuff together, you're not friends. And that's just that. If they were really your friend, they wouldn't want you doing that stuff or putting yourself in that situation. Like, there was a thing that happened in Oklahoma City that me and my girlfriend at the time, or ex-girlfriend now, but
your baby's mama.
Yeah, we had I don't know. Oh yeah, so we were running around with a certain person. I'm not gonna say names just cause but we were running around with a certain person that took us off the streets, gave us a hotel. He put us up in the Hilton for like 3 weeks and just wanted me to sell drugs for him. So I was like, okay, that's a good opportunity. So he ends up going to federal prison, and so all that, we had protection just by his name. Like, people wouldn't mess with us because they knew who he was. Well, when he went to federal prison, our arch enemy, I guess, he hated the fact that we were doing what we were doing, where we were doing it, and so he found out he went to prison. Well, we're sitting in one of the homegirls' apartments, and this door is always locked. Well, she had just gone outside to smoke a cigarette or something, comes back in, and we think she locks the door again, because usually she would. And so me and my baby mama were just sitting there, and then somebody comes barging through the door, doesn't knock, doesn't see if it's unlocked, like he knew it was unlocked. And this is someone we thought we were friends with, the apartment we were at. And so when I turned around, I realized who it is and knew instantly that it was a bad situation. I didn't realize how bad it was going to get, though. So, he's like, oh, yeah, y'all messed up now. So-and-so is not here to protect you. And I'm like, we'll just get our stuff and we'll leave. He's like, nah, you can't do that no more. So he pulls 2 guns out, and he's like, go ahead and come in the back room. Well, I knew if we went in the back room, it could only get worse, but I had no choice at this point. He's got a gun to both of us. So we go in the back room, and at this point, we're standing there just, he's like just interrogating us pretty much, talking crap, and, oh, yeah, he can't protect you no more. What are you going to do? I wanted to go outside and just catch a fair one, like, let's just handle this like men, me and you, leave her out of it. And he was like, no, we're not fighting no more. Like, he didn't want to fight. Well, like I said, he's got these 2 guns. Well, he was a pimp in Oklahoma City, so they have different rules, and they believe that girls aren't supposed to look at you, or if a guy's talking, he's not talking. It's just these little things. But he said shoelaces, and at the time I didn't even know what shoelaces meant, and it means the girls are supposed to look down at their shoelaces and face the wall. And Janae, or I shouldn't, my baby mama,
I'll bleep that out.
my baby mama, she didn't do that. So he tells her to be quiet, and that either I smack her or he's gonna pistol whip her. It's my choice. And I was like, bro, and that's where he saw that. Because before I was calm, like, okay, whatever, bro.
Let's pause that just a second. Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
I mean, now hold that. I don't want you to continue there. But think about that for a second. That's what the streets are like. I mean, really. You have an individual that is telling you that if you don't slap your own girlfriend, I'm going to do it, Or did he threaten to shoot you?
Not. Oh, yeah. If we didn't listen to him, he was going to shoot us.
So, I mean, that's what what it's like out there on the streets and the life that he was leading at the time. So go ahead.
And so at that point, I'm trying to debate, oh, don't make me do this, trying to talk him out of it pretty much. And he wasn't having it. He was just laughing in my face like, okay, so I'll do it. So he gets the back of his gun and is about to do it. So I'm like, all right, I'll do it. So I barely, just tap her. And he was like, okay, if you don't do it and actually, smack her, then I'll just do it for you. And so I do it again, and he still said it wasn't hard enough. And so I actually smacked her, and yeah, I didn't want to, but it was, and that's where he saw that it was getting to me, because that's when my eyes watered up and stuff, is because I didn't want to do that, but I had no other choice. Well, at that point, that's when he says, oh, so she's like your kryptonite, right? Like, because before he wasn't making me mad. I was just like, if we're going to die, I'm going to do it with some dignity, And then he saw that him messing with her bugged me. So that's whenever he starts coming after her about stuff. And then makes her stand in the corner while he zip ties me, and then starts pistol whipping me in the back of the head. All because I was associated with somebody he didn't like. And I was just trying to stay the night there and get some sleep and then go back out to the streets. And all this stuff, he ends up zip tying her and then has us in this closet. And I'm talking like hog-tied, like hands to our backs and our legs zip tied to our hands. So I thought at this point we're dead, people don't usually do that and leave you alive. So I, said goodbye, prayed to, just, that's all I knew to do.
Pray to God, right?
Yeah. And
you still believe in God?
I'm still learning.
Still learning, yeah.
Yeah. And so.
But you did at that point in time, didn't you?
Yeah. I was praying, yeah.
It's not hard to admit that.
Yeah,
especially when you're about to die.
I believe in a God. I'm trying to, Yeah.
We'll figure that out. That's another episode.
Yeah. And so he ends up, he asks, or I don't know what got me to, I got into his head about something. I said something that, made him question doing it at all. And so he unzip ties our feet and then walks us to another apartment. And that's where he messed up. Is he walked us to this other girl's apartment, and he wanted us to wait there for him while he went and picked up some money and drugs, and he was coming back with his friends. Well, when he walked us to that apartment, he knocked on the door, was like, hey, they need to come in here, don't let them out. And we were, zip tied behind our back. We step in the door, and then he closes the door, and she was like, so I have to keep y'all here. I was like, we're not staying here. I was like, I don't want to do nothing to you, but our lives are in danger right now, and I'll do anything to get out of this situation. She was like, I'm not going to stop you. She saw that I wasn't, and so we ended up leaving with zip ties still on us. And the situation was so serious. There was fire department and ambulance there. And I was scared to even go to them. I didn't even go to them. We went and hid in the stairwell of another apartment thing. And we could hear them walking around the apartments looking for us when he showed back up. Him and his friends. We had one of the guys open the bottom door and start to go up the stairs while we're just laying on the top row. I was scared. That helplessness is not where it's at. But
out on the streets, that's the way it is all the time, isn't it?
Yeah. You can just go to sleep and you'll wake up to someone trying to rip your stuff right out of your hands.
So what was the absolute bottom that you reached? What happened that made you decide this is enough, and you reached out to us to come get you? I mean, you reached out to us quite a few times. We kept telling
this
you
last
no.
time though, I was staying in a tent, and it was the last time there was tornadoes in Norman, and
Not
it
too
was-
long ago, by the way.
yeah, it was like 2-3 months ago, and so there was, and at this time I'm sober, like I'd gotten out of jail like 2 months.
Well, let's talk about when you were in. You went to a rehab of some sort, right?
No, while I was in jail,
Or wherever it was you went, you were in some rehab program.
no, I didn't go to.
And when you got dry, when you got sober.
I've gone to rehab, but I didn't complete. No.
Oh, okay.
I went to jail, and it was kind of just like I needed to go to jail. Like
Okay.
I needed, even in rehab, you can leave rehab and go and do drugs. But I didn't want to be on drugs anymore. And if you don't know about fentanyl, don't do it.
Okay.
Because you cannot just, I mean, you can quit, like if you got the willpower, but I mean, it is the most miserable thing to withdraw from. So me being in rehab and withdrawing from it is different from me being in jail, where I literally cannot leave. Like I needed to be locked in a box and left there to just suffer, and that's what happened. And it was the first time I was actually sober.
So that was your actual rehab, was to sit there in jail and oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'd been doing
And,
it
and go through the withdrawals.
by myself. Yeah,
How bad was that?
it was terrible, and you got everybody in there judging you and sizing you up. So, I mean, you're going like I didn't get out of bed for the first 5 days. Like, not even to use the bathroom, like, just laid there. And then I had one of my cellies that was like, bro, you have to eat, it's going to make you feel better. And then I ate, and then I started throwing up, and he was like, okay, you don't have to eat, just get better. And by day 7, I jumped out of bed and was like, I feel fine, I didn't feel completely fine, but I felt so much better. And then that relief of, I hadn't been, without drugs in my system for like probably 5-6 years.
Yeah, and just kind of add to that. I mean, he attempted quite a few times to come home.
Yeah.
And we just have this thing about, we're not going to support a bad habit. So we frequently told him no.
Yeah.
They came over.
They let me come over for a few days, enough
Yeah.
to, show they cared and everything, and that then they see that I was still using. So,
Yeah.
and I knew the rules, I knew that.
No drugs on the property.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it's like watching your kid kill themselves. So, I mean, you can't expect.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I really did think you were going to be dead, and I'd be going and setting up your funeral, and that's hard.
Yeah.
That's real hard. But anyway, he hit the bottom and called us.
Well,
This time-
the bottom, that's a good, I should say that too, because that's where, even as me sober, my actions, the reaction was me, even as sober, I still had to fight to be where I am right now, and it's like, so I got out of jail and nobody wanted to deal with me because they knew that how I was before I went to jail. I was either out there stealing someone's stuff or, just doing, bad stuff. Like, I wasn't a reliable person to have around at all. And so every place that I was staying before, I was in jail for like 4 months almost. So it's a good distance that people are used to you not being around. So nobody wanted me back there. And so I could only go to this, what they call a fentanyl forest. So I got.
And that's where we picked you up from?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so I got my own tent and everything. Well, the first few days it wasn't raining or nothing. It was fine, And then every single day for like 3 weeks almost. There was a couple days in between it when it rained. It was raining, right? So I'm in shoes that are cloth. So my shoes, I ain't got a dryer to go to. I have no money. So my shoes were soaking wet. Well, swamp foot, I got told about
trench
it too,
foot.
or whatever. Yeah, trench foot. I didn't believe in that. I thought, oh, I'm a man. It'll be fine. I literally couldn't walk by the time they came and got me. Like, I could, but it was painful every step of the way. And it's like, I don't know. I think that's part of the thing that I had to go through, though, to understand.
Kind of to kind of give you an idea of how I thought about all this. He called the wife, the mother, which they've always been very close. He and she have always been close. And I was taking my usual stand. No, no. She's asking me, he really needs to get uh, medical treatment. And she explained, some of the things. And I said, oh, okay, fine. Bring him home. And I wasn't very,
Yeah.
welcoming to him,
Yeah.
because I didn't feel like this was legitimate again,
Yeah.
I think it was probably day 2. We started warming up to each other again and reattaching to that relationship that we had, and it was really, it's turned out good for us. Yeah, he went through hell, and I prayed for him all the time. I mean, I really did, but I had this certain standard that I am not going to help them until they start helping themselves. Bless you. You want me to finish?
No, I'm good.
You sure?
I held it. Yeah, I'm good.
You usually do like 5 of them.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah.
But, I usually, and I don't help them unless they're willing to help themselves. And I realized this time he really wanted to help himself. Yeah. And, I can't say that it's been any bad things have happened since then. I mean, well, okay, aside from the fact that he decided to get drunk and then take our gator.
Okay, so
That's the force, side by side.
yeah.
And he doesn't even remember what tree he hit.
Yeah.
But he did. I came home and saw the windshield on my gator cracked.
Yeah.
Well, we were going to take him back to Fentanyl Forest until I saw what Fentanyl Forest really was. I couldn't do that. I just couldn't do it. It was that bad.
And I didn't do it out of any. I didn't.
It wasn't out of
intend
spite.
To do it or
It was
nothing
just,
like that.
yeah.
I got a lot of stuff that I'm still going through and everything. And at the time,
Should we tell him about the 40-year-old Scotch?
no,
No? Okay. Never mind.
let's not talk about that.
Okay, fine.
So, yeah, I don't know. I was just in my head a lot by myself and not thinking I could go to my parents about it and talk to them and it'd make me feel better. But now, after doing it, I mean, I've been fine ever since, really. Just being able to know that I can come downstairs and if something is bugging me, talk to them about it. Because at the time, I felt like, okay, if they think that I'm upset like that, they're going to think that I'm going back to drugs and I didn't want to worry them. So I just kept it in. And yeah, that's not good for me. And that's why I got drunk in the first place. Like I did. It wasn't just like I had a couple of drinks. I had a lot of drinks. Like I couldn't walk.
He couldn't remember anything.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
I can just tell you, Scotch, wine. What else did you drink that day?
I don't know. It was like Four Logos. Yeah, I drank.
But it was like, wow. I mean, I could smell him all the way. I mean, he was up in his room and I could smell him all the way downstairs. It was that bad. Yeah. And I'm not making light of it. But we've, he and I've learned to deal with it together. Did he backslide a little bit? Yeah, he did. But I felt like taking him back to the Fentanyl Forest was going to be his demise. And so I brought him back home and said, this was your absolute last chance. Now, keep in mind, I've told him last chance a lot over the years, but I've never used the term absolute last time.
Yeah. And it's like, you gotta think though too, like from what I did and what I used to do, there's a big difference in those. Like back in the day, I would go and, me running away and defying everything they said, or they said, oh, you're staying home. I'd leave and then go break into someone's house, and then they get calls from the cops, and it was like there's differences in these.
Not to remember the time when you snuck out and I went in and locked the window and sat there and waited on you.
And then I realized when it was too late, he's probably calling the cops. So I tried to book it down the road.
And they got him.
And they come, oh my gosh, they come 4 deep, all their lights off, and just creeping. And I was so mad.
So he comes up to his bedroom window, and I'm in that bedroom window, got the curtains closed. So I open them up, and I just give him this big turd-eating grin, like, gotcha. And he's just looking at me like, oh, really?
Yeah. Well, did I? I don't
Yeah.
remember seeing you. I remember calling my little brother, like, come and unlock the door. And he went to go unlock the door and found out that he was waiting there. And he's like, yeah, Dad said I can't. And I was like, what? I was just standing outside. I was arguing with my girlfriend at the time. But, yeah. And then I was like, all right, well, then I'm leaving, you know. But I had waited like 10, 15 minutes to leave.
Too long.
Yeah.
You got caught.
Yeah, I got caught. Came every direction. But they knew
The
who
things I
was,
have
too.
to do
Yeah.
to get them on the straight and narrow. I mean, really.
That's not what it was. That didn't do it. I'll tell you that. That didn't do it at all.
Some things work, some things don't. You know what? And that's what we're here to talk about in this show. I mean, we really, I think, you know, the main point that we want you all to take out of this is that, you know, there's times when you make each other mad. You know, I know I made him mad. There's one time he actually tried to take me down. We won't talk about that this time.
Nah,
We'll talk about it next time,
okay,
right?
Okay, yeah.
But he learned a lesson.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I
But-
think we both did after that day, though.
Yeah, I think so too.
That was my first time even ever, you know, trying something.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Oh, really? Shut up. Cancel. You didn't say Alexa, did you?
No,
I didn't think so. I didn't say Alexa.
Now you did. Cancel.
Cancel. So anyway, in this show, those are the things we're going to talk about. You know, we're going to have, you know, we might agree on some things, and I know we're going to disagree for certain. Because, you know, I was raised in a different world than he was. You know, let's see, I'm not a baby boomer, but close
Damn
to
near,
it.
yeah.
I'm 58.
And
I think
I'm a millennial.
you're a millennial.
I'm 99, so I was right before millennials, but I'm still I'm a millennial. Yeah.
So we have a lot of things that we differ on.
Yeah.
And, you know, we know when we've been talking a lot since he's come home. And there's a lot of things that we just don't agree on. But we disagree in
Respectful, appropriate ways.
respectful, humorous,
Yeah.
inappropriate
Right.
ways.
Yeah.
And that's what this show is going to be about. Respectful. Yeah. So, you know what? If any of you really want to email us, do it through his email. What's your email?
I'll have to see. I think it's MarquisWhite689 at
Yahoo.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. MarquisWhite689 at Yahoo.com. Email us. You know, we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. We'll even, you know, let you zoom in and we'll talk to you and talk about whatever you want. Just remember that I have control. I am the editor. So if you get stupid, guess what? You get blurted out. Because this is not a live show yet.
Yeah.
We're talking about it, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you get more comfortable.
Yeah. As soon
See,
as
I'm
we get more...
You
We
get
won't
more.
talk about that. I'm not too keen on cameras, you know. And yeah.
I have experience with podcasts. I actually hosted a podcast. I was asked by, what was it, UK Radio or something like that. My friends across the pond in the UK, Lee Mills and Christopher Reardon, asked me to put on a show in their, I guess, studio,
Yeah.
podcast studio. And so, you know, for quite a few years, I actually had a podcast, you know. And we have some experience on TV.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that some other time. But
Yeah.
I've been on World's Scariest Police Chases and World's Strictest Parents.
Yeah.
That wasn't fun.
And you can see then I hate cameras then too.
Yeah.
I've had people tell me they saw the show and that I just looked like I hated being on the camera. Because
He
I
did.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But we're going to get you through that.
Yeah.
We're going to get you so comfortable with the camera that, well, we'll just get you comfortable.
Yeah.
And we're going to be doing these shows at least once a week. I think we're probably going to, I don't know, maybe one a week.
Yeah, for now, yeah.
Yeah, for right now, we're doing one a week. I think there's plenty of content. We're going to go out there and look at local news, current events, global current
Talk about
events.
Trump.
Talk about.
We agree on that, though.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really do.
Yeah.
And that's very surprising because I'm very much conservative, where he is very much
I'm not.
central.
What is it? No, I'm definitely
Are you?
Republican.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, you don't look like one.
Well, I might not look like one. I believe in working for. You work for what you get, and there shouldn't be handouts in the world.
And you shouldn't be supporting lazy people.
Yeah, and that's just.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
There we
sure.
go. Yeah.
If you want something, go work for it to get it. Yeah.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah.
And we do. We actually love each other very much. That's never been a secret. Although it was, at times, it was rougher for me to admit it than it was him. Yeah. I mean, I was in the Marine Corps for 6 years, and, I approached life as a Marine would. I was a cop for 32 years, going on 33 now. 21 of those as a chief of police. So, I was kind of hardened by the things that the job brought. And I guess that hardness kind of like a ripple effect, and affected some of those around me. Unbeknownst to me at the time, but yeah, that was the case. And those are kind of some of the things we're going to talk about in this show. So, you know what? Stay tuned. Yeah. Anything you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
No, it's good for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why do you want to? I'm good.
I figured you'd have something you wanted to get off your chest.
Like what? I don't know. I said.
How about you rolling that little
No.
mini Jeep of ours?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like talking about that stuff.
He doesn't like talking about foolish things that he does.
No, I'll talk about those all day, just not recent ones. That just happened, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And okay, if you want to talk about it, we got a video of him almost doing the same thing. So, and we don't want to talk about that.
We'll put that video in the next episode.
Yeah.
How about that?
We might even have me on video doing it from the front ring camera.
Oh, I need to check that. Yeah.
I didn't think about
So
that.
he's going down the side of the highway.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And he's got this little mini Jeep. It's one of those little 125cc.
No, the thing's fast.
It is fast.
It is.
It's got
not
3
safe.
gears. And when you get it in third gear, that
goes.
front end is just doing this, you
Yeah.
know. So at one point, he goes to try to pull it to the left to go around this big, kind of a gravel mound or whatever. It goes out on the road. Next thing you know, he's flipping off on his side.
And then I go to correct it and correct too much. So then I flip the other way. I put my leg out trying to catch it and then rolled my ankle. And then, yeah. I'm just glad no cars.
And and when he looked over to see if anyone saw it, guess where I was standing?
Yeah.
Outside the house next to the garage where I saw the whole
Which the odds
thing.
of that happening are like 1 in a million. And at first I looked over and I saw my uncle. So I'm thinking, okay, good. He wasn't
That's my
looking.
twin brother, but
Yeah.
we don't look alike.
Yeah. I think, never mind. But, no, I'm just kidding. But I look over and see my uncle and he's looking at the garage. So I'm like, okay. I don't know how he didn't hear it and look over, but all right, that works. So I flip it back over and I turn it around and I'm heading to the garage and I see him standing at the garage watching me.
And I'm giving him the
like,
really?
Are you? Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
And I go like this.
Yeah. And, yeah.
And he immediately goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, well, you know what? We're here at an hour, so we're going to have to cut it off for the day or for this podcast. But please, reach out to us at the email address that he said. It's Marquis White
689
at Yahoo, and we'll put it on the show, or we'll talk to you even. We'll get on Zoom, record it, and upload it if you are daring enough to get in front of the camera. So, But the thing we want you to take away from this is regardless of how indifferent life can be between two people or more, there's always a common ground, and that's love,
And family
And
is
family.
always going to disagree about stuff, but it's about being a family, and
Exactly.
being able to, be a family. That's all the most important thing in the world is your family. Like,
Yeah.
friends come and go, girls come and go, but family's
right.
forever. And I
Amen.
truly believe that, And you might not talk at times, but, you got to get through that or whatever, And it took me years to, get past or, figure out some of the things that was making me separate the way I was. And it was all mainly my fault, like, yeah,
I'll let him believe that.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
Well, with that being said, we will continue this discussion in the next episode. Till then, take care of yourselves and be safe. I'm going to sign off this way. There you
Adios.
go. Take care.
Adios.
Goodbye.